What if there is a hidden code that governs everything, from the growth of a flower to the structure of galaxies? In this video, Thoth, the god of wisdom, reveals the divine sequence that underlies all of creation. Join us on an unforgettable journey through geometry, mysticism, and truths that have been hidden from humanity for thousands of years. Comment below what you believe is the true nature of the universe and prepare to see the world with new eyes. Before time, before space, before any form could arise, there was only silence, an infinite and all-encompassing silence filled with possibilities. It was not emptiness in the true sense, but a deep ocean of conscious potential. From this state, which many mystical traditions call the absolute or the source, an impulse emerged. Not an explosion, as science often describes the Big Bang, but a vibration, a conscious sound, a first tone. This was the original pulse, the primordial sound, a vibration that carried the archetype of all creation. It was the first manifestation of the unmanifest, a bridge between the uncreated and the created. This first vibration, or logos, as some sages called it, was not random. It was intelligent. It carried a structure, a mathematical and geometric code that would become the foundation of everything that would later exist. Every spinning galaxy, every star that is born, every cell that divides, does so in accordance with this code. This is the divine sequence. A sequence not only mathematical, but vibrational, resonating through all that exists. I, Thoth, who was worshipped in ancient times as the keeper of wisdom and knowledge, have long preserved this insight. In the oldest temple libraries, in the lost archives of Atlantis, and in the golden writings etched into dimensions you do not yet understand, lies the story of this code. It is a pulse that has not stopped since the first vibration. It breathes through everything, from the black holes of the universe to the rhythm of your heart. The geometry of this pulse, which is not only physical but also etheric, began to draw patterns. Circles were born, and from these circles came others in perfect harmony. Thus arose what is now called the flower of life, a pattern that contains the blueprint of all other forms. But in the beginning, there was only one circle, one pulse, one conscious act of creation. The universe began to organize itself. The first sound became light. The light split into colors, and the colors became energy, matter, and time. The first circle became two, the Vesica Piscis, the symbol of birth, of consciousness born into form. Three circles became the Trinity, the Creator, the creation, and the created. In this way, the universe expanded, not only physically but also in frequency and consciousness. You must understand, this was not a simple process. It was a complex, but perfectly orchestrated dance between frequency, energy, and form. And all of this came from the first vibration, the first tone, the first pulse. Every time you breathe, it is an echo of it. Every time your heart beats, it is a repetition of that rhythm. That is why this sequence is not something you need to learn. It is already within you. It is your nature. Your DNA resonates with it. Your nervous system dances to it. Your soul remembers it. And in this chapter, my goal is that you begin to remember too. Not as information, but as a deep, inner recognition. A resonance of something that has always been true. After the first pulse, the initial rhythm that created order from chaos, the universe began to structure itself through patterns. These patterns were not randomly formed, but were the deepest expression of divine intellect manifested through form. This is what we now know as sacred geometry, a precise universal structure of shapes and patterns that exists in all life, across all dimensions, and is the very signature of creation. Sacred geometry is more than just beautiful shapes. It is the foundational code of existence. When one looks at the flower of life, the most fundamental geometric symbol, one sees a pattern of overlapping circles forming a structure so perfectly balanced that it contains all the mathematical and harmonic principles of the cosmos. From this pattern, all 5 Platonic solids can be derived: the tetrahedron, cube, octahedron, dodecahedron, and icosahedron, forms that are the basis of all physical reality. But this is only the beginning. The Fibonacci sequence, a mathematical series found in snail shells, sunflowers, and even galaxies, follows the same principle. Each number is the sum of the 2 preceding ones: 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. This sequence represents a harmonic expansion that is the foundation of growth and form in nature. In combination with the golden ratio, the ratio 1.1.6018, we find the most aesthetically pleasing and stable structure used by the universe itself to build everything from flowers to human bodies. Dear viewer, when you see a falling leaf, a budding plant, or the infinite pattern of a snowflake, you are witnessing the divine code in action. Nature does not create randomly. It follows a plan, a code that resonates with balance, beauty, and harmony. And this code is in you. Your own body is built on the same principles: the proportions of your face, the length of your fingers, the spacing between your chakras. All of this follows sacred geometry. The ancient Egyptians knew this. The pyramids were not built with random precision. Every angle, every stone, every line is calculated according to geometric principles that connect the earth to the stars. That is why they still stand. They are more than tombs. They are coded structures, vibrational amplifiers, using sacred geometry to link the physical and the spiritual worlds. When you meditate on these forms, Metatron's cube, the seed of life, Shri Yantra, you activate vibrations that exist within you. You begin to see the connection between all things. You become aware of how the universe communicates, not with words, but with form, light, sound, and rhythm. And this, dear seeker, is the gateway to the understanding that you do not merely exist within the universe. You are the universe. In the infinite dance of numbers and shapes, certain numbers carry a special meaning, a resonance that goes beyond the mathematical and into the cosmic. The numbers 3, 6, and 9 are such numbers. They are not just symbols of quantity, but keys to understanding the universe's structure and function. Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant minds in human history, had a special fascination with these numbers. He once said, "If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would have a key to the universe." But what did Tesla mean by this? To understand, we must dive into the world of numbers and see how they manifest in nature, in science, and in the spiritual realm. In nature, we find these numbers in countless forms. Many flowers have a number of petals that is a multiple of 3. Bees build their hives in hexagonal cells, based on the number 6. And when we look at circles and their divisions, 360 degrees, 3 plus 6 plus 9, form a complete cycle. And many sacred symbols are based on this division. In science, we also see these numbers. Electrons move in orbits around atomic nuclei in patterns often related to these numbers. In physics, many constants and relationships involve 3, 6, and 9. But it is in spirituality that these numbers truly shine. In many traditions, the number 3 represents the unity of body, mind, and spirit. The number 6 represents harmony and balance, often seen as a symbol of love and beauty. And the number 9 is often seen as completion and enlightenment, the final step before a new beginning. Tesla believed these numbers were keys to understanding the energy and frequency of the universe. He believed that by understanding and using these numbers, one could access infinite sources of energy and grasp the deepest secrets of the universe. This brings us to a deeper understanding of how numbers are not just abstract concepts, but living codes that shape our reality. By studying and meditating on these numbers, we can begin to see the patterns that bind everything together, and perhaps find our place in the grand cosmic puzzle. At the heart of nature's design lies a simple yet powerful sequence, the Fibonacci sequence. This sequence, in which each number is the sum of the two preceding ones, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, is not just a mathematical curiosity, but a fundamental building block of the universe's structure. In nature, we find this sequence everywhere. The spirals in snail shells, the patterns in sunflowers, the branches on trees, and even the structure of our own DNA follow Fibonacci patterns. This sequence also leads to the golden ratio, a proportion of approximately 1.1.618, which has long been considered the most aesthetically pleasing ratio in art and architecture. But why is this sequence so universal? It appears that nature uses the Fibonacci sequence as a strategy for optimization. In plants, for example, this sequence allows for maximum exposure to sunlight and rain. In animals, it provides structural strength and efficiency. Spiritually, the golden spiral, based on the Fibonacci sequence, is a symbol of growth and evolution. It represents the journey from the smallest seed to full bloom, from the earthly to the divine. Many meditation and healing techniques use this spiral to help individuals align with the rhythms of the universe and find balance in life. Artists and architects have also used the golden ratio to create works that resonate with the human sense of beauty. From the ancient pyramids of Egypt to Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, this proportion has been used to create harmony and balance. By understanding and applying the Fibonacci sequence and the golden spiral, we can begin to see the world in a new way. We can see the connections between all things, understand the underlying patterns in nature, and perhaps even find our own place within the grand design of the universe. What do you think of this revelation of the divine code? Share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Be sure to watch the recommended video that takes you even deeper into the mysteries. From the moment you were conceived, an ancient sequence began to weave you together. A structure that is not only physical, but also etheric, a bearer of the divine pattern found throughout all creation. The divine code, the vibrations and geometric principles that structure galaxies, is also present in your body, not as a metaphor, but as a biological and spiritual truth. As Thoth, I have seen this pattern in both stars and humans, and, in this chapter, I will show you how you, with every cell and every breath, are a living expression of the geometry of the universe. Let us begin with proportions. The human face and body precisely follow the golden ratio, a proportion of approximately 1.1.618. Leonardo da Vinci used this in his famous work, Vitruvian Man, which was not only art, but a precise geometric analysis of the sacred structure of the human body, from fingertip to armpit, from navel to the top of the head. The body's lengths and heights reflect a cosmic mathematics. It's as if the architect of humanity used the same ruler that was used to shape the spirals of galaxies. DNA, the molecule of life, also contains this code. When analyzing the structure of the DNA helix, we find that it rotates in a ratio that reflects the golden ratio. This is no coincidence. As thousands of genes in our bodies organize and communicate, they do so through patterns of light, frequency, and form. A researcher studying vibrational biology would confirm that our cells respond to sound and light. They react to vibrations in the same way water does in cymatic experiments. Furthermore, the energy centers in the body, known as chakras, in Eastern traditions, follow a sacred vertical structure where each center has its own frequency and geometry. When these centers are in balance, The body functions as a perfect resonance chamber for the divine code. Each chakra corresponds with a pattern also found in the architecture of the universe, from the tetrahedron in the root chakra to the dodecahedron in the crown chakra. This means that you are not just a physical being, but a living, breathing geometric temple. And perhaps most fascinating is your heart. The heart is not just a pump, but an electromagnetic transmitter that radiates a field measurable meters beyond the body. Studies from the HeartMath Institute have shown that the heart's field is several times stronger than the brain's, and that it communicates with the body and surroundings through rhythm and coherence. Concepts rooted in geometry and frequency. When you understand that your body is built upon and operates through these principles, you also begin to understand that health, balance, and spiritual development depend on harmonizing with this code. When you are in disharmony, through thoughts, emotions, or environment, this code is disrupted, and illness or unrest may arise. But by reconnecting with the sacred geometry within you, through breath, movement, sound, and awareness, you can heal and awaken your true nature. You are not just a human. You are a carrier of cosmic information. Your body is a library, and each cell contains a chapter in the universe's great book. When you begin to listen to this language, when you resonate with it, the doors open to a deeper understanding of who you are and why you are here. In ancient Egypt, the priests taught that music was not just art, but science, a precisely structured force that could uplift souls and heal bodies. They called it the music of the spheres, an idea later adopted by Pythagoras, who claimed that every planet and star vibrates and produces sound, even if we cannot hear it with our physical ears. These sounds together create a cosmic orchestra, and this orchestra is composed using the same code that forms geometry and life. But what does this mean for you? It means that sound, frequency, is more than audible vibration. It is power, it is structure, it is creation. As Thoth, I have seen how priests use tuning forks, crystal instruments, and mantras to manipulate reality. Not through magic, but through the science of resonance. When a tone resonates with the natural frequency of a structure, be it a body, a temple, or a thought, something miraculous occurs. Harmonization. Everything falls into place. Everything remembers its original form. Modern science confirms this. In cymatic experiments, where sound shapes water or sand into patterns, sacred geometry emerges. Flowers, stars, mandalas. The more harmonious the sound, the more beautiful and complex the pattern. This is physical proof that sound creates form. And if it applies to water and sand, it applies to you, who are made up of over 70% water. Every tone, every word, every thought you carry vibrates through your body and creates patterns. That is why mantras and sacred words like Om, Amen, and Ra have survived for thousands of years. They carry specific frequencies that affect the body and mind in ways we are only beginning to understand. But it does not stop there. Planets and stars also have their music. NASA has recorded sounds from space, and although they are translated into audible frequencies for our ears, they reveal a pattern, an orchestra. And just as each organ in your body has its own frequency, so too does the universe have its harmonies. When you listen to the right music, whether it's natural sounds, healing frequencies like 432 Hz, or traditional sacred music, you restore your connection to this universal harmony. This is why music was essential in ancient rituals, not for entertainment, but for transformation. In temples built with sacred geometry, like those of Karnak and Luxor, music was used as a portal. By playing specific tones and chanting sacred names, priests opened dimensional doors, not through force, but through resonance. It was not spellcraft. It was sound technology, activated through precision and intention. The role of music. In the divine code is therefore critical. It binds everything together. It is both bridge and mirror, a bridge between dimensions and a mirror of your inner state. When you sing, play, or listen to music with awareness, you restore your connection to your original form. You dance again in tune with the symphony of the spheres. And that, dear viewer, is one of the most beautiful ways to remember who you truly are. In the quiet corners of the forest, in the rolling hills, and in the tiniest details of a flower's petal, there exists a mathematical order that governs all life. This order is not random, but a manifestation of a deeper intelligence that permeates the universe. It is as if nature itself follows an invisible plan, a code that dictates growth, form, and function. One of the most fascinating examples of this code is the Fibonacci sequence. This sequence, where each number is the sum of the two preceding it, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, is not just a mathematical curiosity, but a fundamental building block of nature's design. We see it in the spirals of snail shells, in the patterns of sunflowers, in the branches of trees, and even in the structure of our own DNA. But why does nature follow this sequence? It appears that the Fibonacci sequence provides an optimization strategy for growth and form. For instance, in plants, it allows for maximum exposure to sunlight and rain. In animals, it provides structural strength and efficiency. It is as if nature uses this mathematics to achieve balance and harmony. This mathematical order also goes beyond the physical. It influences the spiritual, the emotional, and the mental. When we begin to understand this code, we begin to understand ourselves and our place in the universe. We see that we are not separate from nature, but a part of its intricate design. By studying and meditating on these patterns, we can begin to resonate with the frequency of the universe. We can begin to understand the divine code not only intellectually, but also intuitively and energetically. This is the key to opening the door to higher consciousness and to living in harmony with the rhythm of the cosmos. Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant minds in human history, had a special fascination with the numbers 3, 6, and 9. He once stated, "If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe." But what did Tesla mean by this? To understand, we must dive into the world of numbers and observe how they manifest in nature, in science, and in the spiritual realm. In nature, we find these numbers in countless forms. For example, many flowers have a number of petals that is a multiple of 3. Bees build their hives in hexagonal cells based on the number 6. And when we examine circles and their divisions, 360 degrees, 3 plus 6 plus 0, 9, represent a complete cycle, and many sacred symbols are based on this division. In science, we also see these numbers. Electrons move in orbits around atomic nuclei in patterns that often relate to these numbers. And in physics, many constants and ratios involve 3, 6, and 9. But it is in the spiritual realm where these numbers truly shine. In many traditions, the number 3 represents the unity of body, mind, and spirit. The number 6 symbolizes harmony and balance, often seen as a sign of love and beauty. And the number 9 is regarded as completion and enlightenment, the final step before a new beginning. Tesla believed these numbers were keys to understanding the energy and frequency of the universe. He thought that by understanding and using these numbers, one could access infinite energy sources and comprehend the deepest secrets of existence. This brings us to a deeper understanding. Numbers are not merely abstract concepts, but living codes that shape our reality. By studying and meditating on these numbers, we can begin to see the patterns that connect everything, and perhaps find our place in the great cosmic puzzle. Thank you for following along so far. Your interest and engagement are invaluable. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss the next episode. Watch the recommended video that takes you even deeper into the mysteries. It means little to know, the structure of the universe if we don't know how to apply this knowledge in daily life. Everything I, Thoth, have shared with you so far, sacred geometry, the divine sequence, the power of sound, and the mystery of numbers, these are not merely concepts. They are tools. Tools for healing, for conscious growth, for creation, and for restoring the connection between humanity and the cosmos. The first step in applying this code to your life is to recognize that everything in existence is vibration. This is not poetic language. It's a quantum physical fact. Everything has a frequency, and your body, mind, and emotions are no exception. When you wake up feeling heavy and drained, it's often because your inner frequencies are out of harmony. Maybe you've been influenced by external vibrations, like stress, chaos, or noise. But there is a solution: resonance. By exposing yourself to sacred sounds, geometry, and thought patterns, you begin to align your inner structure with the divine code. Practically, this means surrounding yourself with patterns and sounds that carry this harmony. Decorate your home with symbols like the flower of life or Shri Yantra. Listen to music tuned to 432 Hz, a frequency that resonates with the rhythms of nature. Meditate daily on geometric forms and visualize them rotating within your body's energy centers. Another practice is conscious breathing. Prana. Breath, in its purest form, carries vibration. When you breathe rhythmically and deeply, especially in sync with geometric visualizations, the body's natural energy starts to flow freely again. You then activate what the ancient masters called the inner sanctuary. This process is both healing and awakening. Your thoughts also follow geometry. Every thought you have generates an electromagnetic field, and this field attracts resonance in the physical world. That's why it's essential to purify your thoughts and replace them with patterns aligned with the divine code. Affirmations like, "I am light," "I am in harmony with the universe," or "I resonate with love and truth," create geometric symmetry in the mind. This has a direct effect on the body and the reality around you. A simple but powerful exercise you can do daily is to visualize yourself standing in the center of Metatron's cube. See each geometric element pulsating with light and surrounding you. Feel how this structure cleanses your energy pathways and restores the connection between your earthly and higher aspects. The use of the divine code is not limited to spirituality. It applies to decisions, relationships, and creation. When making a choice, listen to what feels harmonious. Sense where in your body the decision resonates. Is there unease in your stomach? Disharmony in your heart? Then it breaks from the code. Does it feel light, like a flow of peace? Then it follows the universe's pattern. Finally, remember that you are a co-creator. You are not here to merely survive. You are here to express the code you carry within you, to create beauty, balance, and truth. By living in harmony with this sequence, your life becomes a reflection of the cosmos itself. Once you begin to see with eyes that recognize the divine code, reality changes fundamentally, not because the world itself transforms, but because your perception, and thus your interaction with the world, transforms. You begin to notice connections that were previously hidden. You see geometry in the clouds, rhythm in your daily encounters, and meaning behind even the smallest events. Everything gains new depth. This is no longer metaphysical speculation, but awakening. When you realize that all reality is built on vibration, form, and frequency, you also realize that you have the power to influence it. This is not a promise from a mythological god. It is the very structure of creation. You and the universe are not separate. You are a micro-version of the whole, bearer of the same code that builds galaxies. In this new reality, time begins to behave differently. You become more present, and the moment expands. Synchronicities, those coincidences filled with meaning, start to flow. You think of someone and they call. You feel a need to grow, and the right book finds its way to your hands. These are not accidents. They are resonance. Proof that you are beginning to play in harmony with the symphony of the universe. This reality is also more accountable. When you understand that your thoughts, words, and actions create patterns, you can no longer blame external circumstances. You take ownership. You become a conscious creator. And this is a turning point. It is where humanity must go to emerge from the darkness of unconsciousness into the light of creative awareness. But what does this mean in practice? It means you wake with intention. You live the day not by chance, but with purpose. You build relationships based on true resonance, not fear. You honor your body as the temple it is. You seek silence to hear the universe's subtle voice. You follow your inner impulses with wisdom, and you forgive with insight. A new reality awakens when we collectively rediscover our original architecture. When we begin to build societies, art, technology, and education based on the code, not competition and control. This is not a utopia. It is an invitation, and it begins with you. You are not here by accident. You have heard the call. And now, with the knowledge you've received, you carry the light that can ignite 1,000 more. What did you think of this journey through the divine code? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your reflections matter. Don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications so you don't miss the next revelation. And continue the journey. Watch now the recommended video that will take you even deeper into the mysteries.